too much.
That was the big. I know you have to. We have to let her talk. Sorry, we have.
Oh, it was so nice. That was incredible. Wow.
That's the loudest intro in the history of the Tonight Show.
You guys are the best.
They're the best
Everyone
crowd.
in here.
Yeah,
Thank
they're
you
the
so
best.
Much. I feel like I'm back at the Eras tour.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Let's talk. Life of a Showgirl is out now. It went to
Yes.
#1. It is the biggest streaming day for any album released this year across all platforms, including Amazon, Apple, Spotify, every platform. #1. Congratulations.
That's all you guys.
This is how does it feel to have this out in the world?
I mean, yes. I'm so excited about, like, this was sort of a surprise and a secret that I had been carrying around for a year, and I was so excited. It's like when you're like, I got a really great Christmas present from my brother, and then but you have it for a
Christmas
year.
tomorrow? Yeah.
And so it's really exciting that, you know, they have opened the present and they are playing with the toy. And it's fantastic. Like, this has just been, like, I think the most well-matched era in terms of where my life was when I wrote it and then where I am now when it's out in the world. I feel exactly the same way as I did when I wrote and recorded these songs. It's like,
Because sometimes you put out an album.
sometimes you write, like, the Torture Poets Department, like, the name didn't lie. I was like, I wrote that song and I was just, like, miserable.
Yeah.
And then when I put it out, I was like, I'm so happy now. So I just, like,
I can't.
release week meant just, like, putting my phone in a drawer, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, this feels so special because, like, with my albums, I love to kind of, you know, showcase sort of like aspects of my personality that are in the extreme, right?
Yeah.
Like Torture Poets Department, my last album, was really highlighting the facets of me that are like a writer that's like earnest and stoic and raw and sort of like the sprawling part of it, where the part of me that wants to just be like, I'm just gonna write everything and give you everything I wrote.
Raw.
Right? Raw and like pain and just excruciating detail. And then there's this, like, that was the character of the poet, and this I wanted to be the character of the showgirl, which is like other aspects of a person's personality where you're like funny and feisty and like having a blast and flirty and sort of tongue-in-cheek and a little scandalous and
Yes.
like
Yes.
friendly.
Yes! We're feeling all of it. By the way, I have to say, because I'm getting blinded, congratulations on your engagement.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no big deal.
Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's,
Can I see it?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, my Lord. Can we look just at the camera? Can you see? Taylor,
crazy.
Taylor, that is
That's
insanity.
crazy.
Well, he put a lot of work into that one. Huh?
He did. He did, and he had it for a really long time before he gave it to me too.
He did?
Yeah. So he had it, like, he custom did this and designed it with this amazing jeweler who he made it with.
It's gorgeous. Even the sides are beautiful.
I know. I know. I look at it constantly. Like, it doesn't feel in any way normal for me. I'm just
That's
sort
good.
of like, oh,
This is the moment
man.
yes.
Whoa, but it's like, it's more than that. It's like, he's just my favorite person I've ever met. No offense to everyone else.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is the person that I get to hang out with every day forever is just like, that's the whole thing of it. You look at that and you're like, I get to hang out with him forever, and this represents that.
That's the win, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you did his podcast, New Heights, which, by the way, I have done, and since I've done his podcast, they've won every game. Since
Yeah,
I've
you
done
know
it.
what? Don't think I didn't notice that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so
I don't want to thank you. I don't want any credit. Let's just act like it didn't happen.
let's not jinx anything. Let's sort of, but
But it did happen.
it did happen.
What are you gonna
We
do?
have to acknowledge certain superstitious, things that cause a streak of winning.
Yes, and
it's game day.
yes.
My head is very much there.
Yes, you are.
So thank you for acknowledging that.
No,
really-
I was going to bring up the podcast only because you did the podcast to announce and reveal your album title.
Yes.
And then after that podcast, I think I'm right about this. It might be another rumor about you, but he went and you got engaged right after the podcast.
Yes. So basically, I think for Travis, the podcast was just sort of like a distraction, sort of ruse to keep me not looking out the windows of the house.
So it was all happening. Was the
like-
backyard normal when you got there?
I was like, I don't. Every time he does the podcast, it's not like he like blacks out all the windows. It's like there's like fully like just blackout drapes on every single window of the whole house.
Yeah, you're like,
And I was
honey,
like,
this is
he
real
so
secretive.
serious about this, and I really appreciate that. But then afterward, I kind of realized like he's walking around sort of nervous about the podcast. He's like, my heart is racing. I know how much this means to you. Like, really want this to be what you hoped it would be, because we've been talking about doing the podcast and announcing the album.
Yeah.
And he's like, my heart's racing. And I've never seen this dude nervous, ever.
Of course he's not nervous
like
about the podcast.
Professionally
He's like, I got
not
really
a
big-
nervous person.
He's like, I wonder what questions I'm gonna ask you. I know one question that I'm gonna ask. I know the big one, but I can't get to that yet.
Yeah, I was like, and so he was like, do you want to go and just walk around the backyard and have a glass of wine? I'm like, I'm always going to want to do that.
That's good. Always bad.
And then I realized exactly why all of the windows were curtained and why he was nervous. And
Yeah, look at this
it was
right
the
here.
best possible case scenario. Look at that.
Look at this.
That's what he was turning the backyard into.
It is
like a
gorgeous.
secret garden
Oh, it's
oasis.
beautiful. You've had a giant year. A lot of things to celebrate. You have the #1 album. You've got engaged. You also finally got the masters. You control all of your masters.
Thanks, guys.
That was hard work. That's a lot of.
The Roots know.
Yeah.
Like Amir knows. We're all just out here in this crazy, insane music industry, and the fact that this happened still feels absolutely outlandish to me, because I kind of had made peace with the fact that I was going to re-record my music. I was going to try to replicate these songs as accurately and exactly as possible, and that was just what I was going to do, because nobody had ever given me the opportunity to bid on my work before. So I was used to feeling, whenever I would see one of my music videos that I'm really proud of from those first 6 albums, or when I would see like an album cover of mine or hear one of the older songs, I'd get so sad. And I had to sort of create this protective layer of like not really letting them in, like not really like, oh, there's one of my music videos, don't really look at it, don't get sad, don't let it ruin your day.
Because you don't own it. Someone
Because you
else
don't
is
own
getting
it, you never will, and you just have to make peace with that. So it's actually, I've had to reroute my entire absorption system of my own work to be just stoked whenever I see any of it, and
Now
it
you're
is
like-
the best feeling in the world. Thank you guys for caring about this at all.
Now it's like, listen to it all.
Yes.
Love it all. And
Yeah.
every time you hear it, you go, I remember where I was when I recorded it. I remember where I wrote it.
Yes,
I
and
remember,
now
I
you get
love
to
those
go
memories.
back down memory lane.
But then
and
you
it's-
also, that you re-recorded it was also historic and cool.
That was really fun.
and
I had a
badass.
blast.
That was awesome.
We had a time.
That was awesome what you did.
It really was fun, and
was
it was
great.
like I know that these are not conversations that have typically been had outside of, you know, behind closed doors, conference room, contract negotiation, sort of inside the music industry type spaces. And the fact that when I did say to the fans, like, this is something I care about, I know you don't have to care about this. It may not be something that you have really like absorbed yourselves in, or like, but the fact that the fans cared, it means the world to me. I know that it was a new topic of conversation to share publicly. Every artist doesn't have to care about owning their music, but I just wanted them to like know that this is a thing. And if you do care about it, negotiate to have it.
Get in
You
there.
deserve it.
And you're already doing it. You're inspiring
Thanks.
hundreds of thousands of artists to do that.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that you did that and that you were honest and let us in kind of a little peek behind the curtain of what the business is. We don't
Like
we
a
don't,
huge peek behind the curtain. I was like, ah, like just all the monsters
Help me!
came out.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
I thought we could do something kind of fun here. Because you're Taylor Swift, and you make a lot of headlines.
Correct.
There's a lot written about you on the internet every day. Some of it is
Yeah.
very hard to tell what's true, and I thought we could have a little fun with this.
All right.
Okay, so what I'm going to do
my
is,
God.
no, I'm going to read some rumors that I heard about Taylor Swift.
Wait, so what is this for?
It's just because it looks cool.
What is it? Do you know what this does and when I am supposed
Yes,
to?
you're supposed to press it. Wait, no, not yet. But I think you press it when we're all done. I'll go back through other rumor and you press it if that one is true.
So you're gonna say things that are true and false, and you're gonna
No,
is this like
I'm-
two truths and a lie where you guess?
Yes. Oh, I can do that.
Yeah. So you.
Oh, I like
so
that.
We're basically.
One of these I know.
Playing two truths
I heard
and a
that.
lie.
Yes.
So
yes.
and
One of
so-
these is true.
One of these things are true, but everything else is false.
That's correct. All right, here we go. Taylor Swift, you turned down the Super Bowl halftime show because the NFL wouldn't allow you to own your performance footage. Okay. We're gonna go through it. There's 5 rumors. Interesting. Rumor 2. Your close friend, Ed Sheeran, learned about your engagement like everyone else did on Instagram. That would be great if that's true. Rumor 3. In your speech at Selena Gomez's wedding, you joked that Selena beat you to the altar. That's funny, I think, and I know you're funny. I could see that happening. Rumor 4, you've been spotted walking a mystery dog in Florida. This is true. This is on the internet. You are walking a dog that's not your dog, and it's a mystery dog. And by the way, I think that might be the true one, but who knows? Travis Kelce can be heard harmonizing on Opalite. All right, I said 5 rumors about you. One of them is true.
And you are guessing now which one you think is the
Yes.
true one, and what happens if that is not true.
If I'm correct,
Do I
how
get to
about
like
this?
throw a marker or something?
No,
Or
no,
what?
no.
Nothing
How about this? Or
happens?
what if it's true, then you hit the buzzer,
Okay.
right? So
And I just sit here.
Well, hopefully I'll get the right one. What if I'm correct?
Okay, yeah, you could get it first.
Or we can run through the room. Let's do that. Then we could maybe run through the rumors and see why the rumors.
This is the most incredible.
What are the rules of this game?
You've
What
never
are the-
played Two Truths and a Lie, so you
No.
basically guess.
But I don't know if there are 2 truths. I think
Oh
there's
yeah,
one
no,
truth.
because there's one truth and
This
a
is
bunch
called
of
4 lies and a
falses.
truth.
Okay, so I should have this if it's false.
Okay, or you hit that if it's false.
There's more of a chance that it's going to be false if there's one truth in there than there's more. And I love a buzzer.
Okay. You can take this home with you. All right.
And if it's true, I'm sorry I've taken this over.
No, I love this.
But if
No,
it's true,
this
I
is-
could say that's true.
All right. All right, the name of this game is called That's True.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh. Or you could call it That's So True, which is my favorite Gracie Abrams song, and then you could play it with other people.
Okay. That's so true.
Okay, cool.
All right. I'm gonna say the rumor that I think is true. Super Bowl, I don't think that you would, about footage or something. That was too, you don't care about that.
So you.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna say my truth. I think my truth, Ed
so
Sheeran
then-
is
no,
funny.
Wait.
But I think you're
When
closer
do
to
I
him.
get to touch
Hold
this?
on, not yet. I didn't guess what when I say this is the truth.
You're working through this in your inner monologue that we're hearing a little bit of.
Correct.
Okay. I love this.
I'm working my inner monologue out loud in front of
Yeah.
everybody.
It's like,
It's not mystery
your
dog.
process is your process.
It's not mystery
All good.
dog. Travis can be heard harmonizing. I don't think he would want to do that. I think he would want you to have your moment to shine. The Selena Gomez one, I feel like that's funny. And I feel like you say, hey, you beat me to the altar. I'm gonna say Selena Gomez is true, that you were at Selena Gomez's wedding, you joked, hey, you beat me to the altar.
It's false.
What is the rules? Wait, what are the rules of the game? The game is not, it's false. The game is, it is, what is the game called?
I don't know.
Sorry, that's false?
Yeah.
So you never
It's
said that?
false. Well, I got to see her be the most elegant, gorgeous, not only bride, but just vision that I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything so beautiful as her on her wedding day.
I love her.
And she deserves
And Benny.
all of his happiness. Benny is him.
The best,
He
dude.
is so funny.
He's the best.
He's the best. So
Right.
I did make a speech, but I actually made a point not to mention anything about my engagement. Nobody wants you to be like, hey, I know this is your wedding day, but like, you know, like I was like, don't
So, yeah, it's not
mention
about
it. Like
you.
maybe turn it around. Like,
It's
do you know what I mean?
Yep, this is her day.
I did do some light teasing about the way that we used to dress in 2008, the year that we met. Because we met when we were teenagers in 2008. It was quite a year. Let me tell you, it was the year of
Yes.
deep, deep V-necks. And
Was it deep?
I just go into
Very
like,
deep,
I
deep.
just go into like
Very deep,
the
deep.
Gilded Age.
Deep, deep. Oh, it's,
I love the Gilded
Me
Age.
too, the
Don't
Gilded
even
Age.
Get me
Oh, don't
started.
even.
Carrie
Yeah,
Coon's
but Carrie
character.
Coon?
It was the year of aggressively colorful skinny jeans. Everyone was walking around saying things were amazeballs. Mrs. Astor hated it.
my God, that nailed it right there.
So basically, Selena used to, like, her favorite outfit back then was like a very long tank top, skinny jeans,
They know it.
but like a tiny little vest, like the smallest vest, and Chucks. And that was her like uniform of that year. And
Yeah.
mine was that I just always looked like I was like late for the cowboy-themed junior prom. And so I talked a little bit about 2008. I talked about
That's funny.
how happy I am for her and how just beautiful it's been to get to be a part of her life. But I did not
All right. You
make
got-
it about me.
Okay, good. All right, then I'm going to have my second guess here. And I'm going to say, I think it'd be funny if Ed Sheeran learned about your engagement on Instagram.
That's so true.
Oh, no!
I have a perfect explanation.
Oh, no!
He doesn't have a phone. He doesn't have a phone.
Didn't he write a whole album about an old phone that he had or something?
But he doesn't have one that works.
Yeah, it's true. That is true.
So he doesn't have a phone, and this is like one thing I love about him. It's very eccentric. Love it. But when I'm going through being like, hey, like, you know, hey, who
All
should
my
we call?
peeps.
Who should we FaceTime? I'm going through my texts and being like, who have I texted within the last like month of my life? And he just wasn't there because you have to like,
How do you get a hold of him? The bat signal?
You have to email him, and then if you want to set up a FaceTime, he has to find an iPad. They have to give it to him like he's a child that
Yes.
they give the iPad to.
Yes, and he
This is
watches
one
an
of-
episode of Bluey, and then.
This is one of my absolute favorite people on the planet. And
I know,
was
that's
like-
why I didn't guess
And then when the news came out, I was like, oh my God, we forgot to call Ed. Oh no.
That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
he's like family. Like
Of course.
I love him, but he doesn't have a phone.
So that is the true one. So
Yeah.
you didn't turn down the Super Bowl because of performance footage.
No.
Okay. And
No. Well, here's the thing. Like Jay-Z has always been very good to me.
Yes.
Our teams are really close. Like it's like they sometimes will call and say, "How does she feel about?"
Yeah.
And that's not like an official offer or an official like a conference room conversation.
just a
like our
feeling
teams
out.
are really close. How does she feel about it in general? And we're always able to like tell him the truth, which is that like I am in love with a guy who does that sport on that actual field. Like that is violent chess. That is gladiators without swords. That is dangerous. I am the whole season, I am locked in on what that man is doing on the field. Can you imagine if like he's out there every single week, like putting his life on the line, doing this very dangerous, very high pressure, high intensity sport. And I'm like, I wonder what my choreo should be.
He's like, oh my gosh, honey, let me have one thing. Let me have one thing.
I think we should do 2 verses of Shake It Off into Blank Space, into Cruel Summer would be great. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like this is nothing to do with Travis. He would love for me to do it. I'm just too locked in.
Good.
Like, yeah.
All right. Love hearing that. All right. And then Travis not harmonizing on Opalite.
He's not.
No.
No.
And you've not been spotted walking a mystery dog in Florida. That was an odd one.
I have never walked a dog in Florida, or maybe ever.
But the internet is saying it. You have. That's why I wrote it down.
I know. I didn't do that,
It's
though.
not true. All right, there you go.
They should be able to run free.
Yeah, no, they should.
Let them free. Let them loose, right? They
let
come
'em
back.
loose,
Don't
yeah.
they come back? That's the cool thing about dogs.
All right.
You call them and they just come back. They come back to you.
That's not true at all. And I'm going
It's
to
like
call
if you
it.
love your dog.
Let him free. That's not true at all. Let
if
it
it
roam.
loves you too,
Let
it
it
will
roam.
come back to you.
All right. We're going to take a commercial break. In the meantime, I'm going to call Ed Sheeran and say hi to him. Check in. Guys, thank you for doing that. More with Taylor Swift when we come back.